We've got some more Cities of Sigmar action on the go, and this time it's a normal sized lad riding a bigger lad, but not in the way that you might think. Look, I'll be totally honest, I've got no idea what to make of this one. Absolutely no clue. It's a super weird model. I just don't know what they were thinking. Bits of it I really like. There are some elements that are fantastic, but overall it's a bit... Look, let's just take a look at it and go from there, okay? I think that's the best way to do this. Luckily there is a video, so let's have a look at some different angles. There's going to be loads of pausing, so I'm sure that won't be annoying for everybody. Let's take a look. Just immediately, look at this. We've got the dude with the gun in the crow's nest that is attached to a big, like a big pylon wooden stick thing that almost looks like some sort of pulpit, actually more than a crow's nest, with that bit of wood coming up the back there, that is attached to what initially I thought was just a giant guy. It is technically, I mean, it's an ogre, but he's not as hunched as I kind of thought ogres were. So look, there's elements of this that are absolutely fantastic. That crow's nest is brilliant. That looks great. I love the texture on the wood. I like the embossed kind of S symbol that's in the metalwork that's been attached to it. The little gargoyle heads, the parchment hanging down. We've got definitely not purity seals. Those aren't purity seals. Of course they're not, because purity seals are a Space Marine / 40k Imperium thing. So those are... I mean, they're purity seals. Then we've also got that cool lantern. I like that a lot. There's loads of little details. The dude in the top is also legendary. Love his work. I really like the style of the gun. Like, it's... That top bit looks fantastic. And arguably, the kind of supporting strut also looks good. There's little nods to it being vaguely usable. We've kind of got a bit of like ladder situation going on with those rungs on the side. But then then the ogre he's attached to, it's just weird, okay? So here's the thing right here. Here's an issue that I've got, a mild issue. The shield on the like ogre, the wood on it, doesn't make any sense. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how those angles have been like produced. I don't know how they've made that wood do that. It's such a harsh angle, and it's just bent. The wood is somehow bent, which is weird because it's wood, and I know you can bend wood, but for it to be that shape, surely you'd need to just cut a massive slab and then carve it down to be the shape you wanted. It just seems like just an odd shape for the material they've chosen for that particular shield. Like, I don't know how else to put it. If the shield was all metal, it would be like, okay, that makes sense. But then if it was metal, you would lack the really nice textures that you've got going on. There's some really nice kind of wood grain going on. We've got some nice scarring. There's some dents. There's some nicks. There's some cuts in the wood. Then we've got things like the big iron spikes that have gone through the bottom of the shield. Those look really good. Those look fantastic. And overall, like, the actual effect of the shield is really good. The decoration on the top is brilliant. I really, really like the overall style of it, but I feel like you could make that better by putting some banding where the wood, like, bends, where it inexplicably goes at these, like, extreme angles. If there was just some iron banding across it to make it look like it was separate pieces, my brain wouldn't immediately look at that and go, that's weird. Like, I don't know why that's something that it's decided to pick out and focus on, but it has. Maybe you didn't even notice that until I pointed it out, or maybe you did and you didn't care. That's also fine. But for me, it's just an odd shape for the material they've chosen. And they do this occasionally, but not very often. And yeah, it's kind of echoing those kind of angles that you get on things like the steam tank, on New Cavalry that we've already seen. It's kind of, there's like a theme going on with that kind of thing, which I like the fact that there is that theme. But an important thing for all of that other stuff is that it was made out of materials where it makes sense for that to be, frankly, very easy to do. This doesn't quite sit right. It doesn't quite look as it should to me. The ogre himself looks pretty great. He is very, like, he's standing up very tall. It does kind of have this air of being, like, more of just a big person, especially, like, when he's standing like that. For me, I always think of ogres as being, like, a bit more hunched in the shoulder. Like, when you look at the kind of ogre Moor tribes, it feels like there's more of a slumped over bad posture going on. Now, it could be that the reason that he's standing up, and standing up so straight comparatively, is because he's had some sort of training, or because he's got a big old crow's nest strapped to his back. I mean, you can see the straps there. He's got like a load of, like a big padded leather harness that's going around his waist. Then he's got big straps coming off of that that's then going over his shoulders, which then will attach to the crow's nest on the back, which actually is a really cool design. The guy just looks a bit... He looks a bit more human than ogre, and the scaled part of it is kind of messing with my kind of, like, I guess, depth perception and ability to read the height of stuff. I always feel like, as well, the dude in the top should have been a halfling. I don't know why. I just feel like a halfling on top would kind of sell it a little bit more. So as it says, this is a Fusil-Major on Ogor Warhulk, and they now stand at the corner of every Castellite formation, serving multiple roles: lookout, sniper, and formidable flank defense. I mean, I can believe all three of those. They have clarified that these are like city ogres, so second generation city ogres, and they're still like bad-tempered and they're still driven by hunger, but you can just drop meat on them and give them simple commands and they'll obey them. So, like, the difference in stature does sort of make sense the way they've explained it. Despite that, though, I still feel like having it be more of a chunky, sort of hulked out, like, slumped over ogre might provide a little bit more of a contrast to the dude on top. There's already, like, really necessary similarities in terms of armour and just general uniform, which, I mean, that makes sense, don't get me wrong. I don't think it would work if it was just a random half-naked ogre with a pair of trousers carrying this guy around. It needs to look like he's part of the same force. But I just feel like he could be a bit more ogre-like for me. But again, I could be totally wrong with that, and that's absolutely fine. It's just, I don't know, it's weird. I feel like I like all of the elements that have gone into this. I like all of the elements of it. I really like the way that they've done pretty much every single individual part, but the combination of it all isn't quite clicking for me, which is kind of weird, because this is very silly, right? This is the kind of silly that I love. This is the kind of absurdity that I'm absolutely in for when it comes to Age of Sigmar. I mean, it's literally a guy carrying around a crow's nest with a gunner in it. Like, that is perfection in theory. But for some reason, it's just not hitting the spot, and I'm genuinely kind of struggling to work out why. I think it is just a combination of lots of little things. The shield not looking quite right due to the way the wood is done, the lack of things like the iron banding that would make it look that little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit more. I really like the kind of filigree and the kind of decoration at the top of the shield. The maul that he's got looks fantastic. I really like that. I like the ogre's helmet as well. That it looks somehow... It looks a little bit more crude than it should be, and I don't know whether that's just because it's a bit more battered, a bit more dinged around, but yeah, I do like that, and I really like the big kind of gorget that he's got going on, protecting the lower half of the face and the neck. That's a really cool bit of detail. And overall, the uniforms are really good. And the way that thing is strapped to the ogre's back does make sense. I also think having that little construct be so much more extra than it needs to be, having little gargoyle heads, having the lantern, those strips of cloth, like, it could have been a lot more plain than that, but they've chosen to ornament it, and I think that works a lot better. But there is just something about the combination of all of those different pieces that isn't quite sitting right for me, and I can't really work out why that is. It is literally like my brain's going, I like that bit, I like that bit, I like that bit too. In fact, I like that bit combined with that bit. But then as soon as I take a step back and look at the thing as a whole, it goes, yeah, no, I'm just not feeling it. Weird. Maybe we've just reached the point where we've got enough silly. Maybe I'm full of silly and I don't want any more silly, and this is too silly. Maybe that's what's happening. The word silly is losing all meaning the more I say it. Maybe it's just like, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I've finally reached the threshold of wanting to see serious miniatures all the time. That's not true. I don't think that's true. Yesterday we got really excited about the fact that there were walking tanks available from Cromlech, so I don't know that that's necessarily true, because those didn't make any sense. Like, it just flat out didn't make any sense, and I was all for it, and I still love the flying dwarves of Age of Sigmar, and the deep sea elves, and the insane trogs, and yeah, no, that can't be it. I think just this time, it's not hitting the spot for me, which is weird, because I really thought this sort of thing would, but maybe someone's going to do something amazing with it when it's released, and I'm going to look at it and go, that's what it was. That's what it needed. Sometimes that does happen. We'll have to see if that happens this time. The question is, what do you think of this? Let me know in the comments down below. Is it hitting the spot for you, or is it just too ridiculous? I'd be super interested to see whether there's anyone else who's like, yeah, all the individual bits, class, all together, no thank you. let me know in the comments. I will do a brief reminder once again that you can see quite a few things early if you sign up on Patreon or support the channel through YouTube memberships. We're also streaming more now. We streamed yesterday, going to stream tomorrow. So look out for that and join us. It's fun. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to click all the things, Patreon video, subscribe if you like, that'd be nice. And there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you'd like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.